Welcome to the Psychology of Success. You must have heard of the term gaslighting, but what is it? What is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation device, the purpose of which is to gain power and control over somebody else. It's dominance over someone else. Here are some examples of gaslighting. Okay, so in a relationship, you confront your partner about something hurtful they said, and they respond, I never said that. You always twist things. You're too sensitive. So there's an example of gaslighting in relationships. At work, you point out that a manager gave you certain instructions. They deny it and say, you must have misunderstood. You're always confused. In family dynamics, a parent insists a hurtful, painful childhood memory never happened and claims you've always had an overactive imagination. You're being gaslit. In friendships, a friend excludes you, then says, you're imagining things. I didn't do anything wrong. You're being dramatic. You're being gaslit. In public discourse, a political figure makes a controversial statement but later denies it despite video evidence saying, that's not what I meant. And if you think it is, you've been misled. That's gaslighting. Basically, the purpose here is to deny somebody else's grasp over their reality. And the reason you want to do that is you want them to believe that you are the one who's right and you are the one who has a grasp over the reality, but how things work, how the world works, and they don't. So they can become dependent on you. They start to rely on you for how their life operates. So here are some psychological principles that play a role in gaslighting. One is cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is something that arises as a consequence of being gaslit. It means that the person becomes kind of confused and they start to kind of wonder, is it possible, that I am wrong? They start to doubt themselves. Maybe I don't get things right. Maybe I do misunderstand. Maybe I am overly sensitive. So they start to develop this kind of confusion, this cognitive dissonance. False consensus effect. False consensus effect is, well, everybody agrees with me. Just ask anyone, and then they'll tell you you're wrong and I'm right. That's a false consensus effect. Then there's self-serving bias. The gaslighter avoids responsibility by blaming the other person. Minimization. Minimization is minimizing the other person's feelings, their thoughts, their authority, their grasp over reality. There's authority bias. The gaslighter uses their status or role to dominate the narrative. Parent figure. So I know better. I am the boss. As a consequence of that, I know better than you. Otherwise, you'd be in my position. Okay, so how do you respond to gaslighting? Well, let me just say this. If you are somebody who lives in the real world, who's not in trouble every second day with the law, you have a job, you get along well with other people, you've maintained a job for a long time, you pay your rent on time, that should tell you that you have a pretty good grasp on how the world works and on reality. Okay, because if you didn't, then you would be a mess in virtually every aspect of your life. So that's a very key thing. If you want to know whether you got it, you know how things work, you know how the world runs, whether you are right or wrong, you can tell that difference. Just look around you and see how your life is going. And if you're operating well in pretty much every aspect of your life, then that should tell you actually that you can trust your own grasp over reality. Then what you do is you say to the other person, yeah, thanks, I get it, that's your perspective, but I got this, right? That's how you think perhaps, but this is my perspective, and we're going to agree to disagree. So you push back and you set boundaries, and that's how you fight somebody who's gaslighting you. If someone is doing it to you continuously, draw some distance between yourself and that person. That's not a good person to be around. And you do that in order to protect yourself. So now you have a good understanding of what gaslighting is, what are some examples, what are some psychological principles that operate in this psychological manipulation tool, and also how to respond to somebody who's gaslighting you. Final part. Just because somebody is correcting you doesn't necessarily mean they're gaslighting you. You can be wrong, and it's good to have a little bit of humility. It's just that it's highly unlikely that you are going to be wrong all the time, right? If someone's making it seem like that you just don't get it and how the world operates, and your grasp over reality is very poor, then they definitely are gaslighting you. But otherwise, we can be wrong. It happens. I'm a psychologist by training. I have multiple diplomas and degrees and 25 years of experience, and yet, people teach me new things every day. People who may have no formal education even, and I learn from them every day, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that they're gaslighting me. So we can learn from other people. We can be wrong too, but that doesn't mean that gaslighting doesn't happen. It happens a lot, and now you know how it happens, why it happens, and what to do about it. So questions, comments, whatever. If you have any, just send them my way. Take care.